Good afternoon and welcome to Citizen Era, the platform where we speak truth to power. This afternoon we're going to go through something. I would like to have done this on a live broadcast, but on to one or two things. It's better I manage it on a pre-recorded. So I do apologize for that. Hopefully I'll be able to do it justice. Please do us a favor. The track you are hearing, that track will be something we'll be releasing soon. So just bear with us. So that's a track that's going to be the theme song for Citizen AY on this platform. So let us know what you think. It will come out soon. Sorry. So let us know what you think. It will be out soon. Just wanted to let you know that. So you hear it in the background. It's going to be playing throughout this broadcast. Please do us a favor. Go ahead and do something for us now if you can. As you know, you're watching Citizen Era, the platform where we speak truth to power. Go ahead and smash the like button. Subscribe, hit notification button, give us a thumbs up, and of course, smash the like button. Very, very important. The more you like it, the more it will reach more and more people. Very, very important. We need that support from you all. So please go right ahead and help us. 1 second, please. Okay, now. So please go right ahead, hit the notification button, give us a thumbs up, and of course, hit the like button, smash the like button so we can reach as many people as possible. Really, really important. Today, we want to talk about a very important issue. De-dollarization. I know people will say, what's that to do with Nigeria? What's that to do with our dollar? And then how would that impact our dollar and our naira? Well, in one or two ways it will do. There's one or two things that I would say will do. How will it impact you? Number one, if you know, when we go to parties, we don't spend naira at parties anymore. In case you're not aware, we spend dollars. So when you do that, when you spend dollars at parties, it means you're spending more of your naira to buy that dollar that you're going to go and spray. That's simply what it means. So now we're hearing that the naira will now be 800 naira for every $1. So if you want $1, your naira will have to convert. You have to take 800 of your naira to buy $1. And that means that the cost of the food prices in Nigeria now is worthless. We're not connecting that dot. And I'm hoping that by having these kind of discussions among ourselves, every time you hear, oh, the dollar is more expensive, it means that your dollar is worthless. That's what it means. So that's on one side. On the other side, we're going to talk about de-dollarization, what it means and what's the impact and what it's going to do in the coming weeks and months, and maybe in the medium to long term, how that is going to impact us. And that's why this topic is very important. So please go ahead, subscribe to Citizen AY, subscribe, hit the notification button, give us a thumbs up, and of course, like I said, hit the like button, hit that like button, thumbs up, like button, same thing. Just please do that, smash it, go ahead and smash it. The more you like it, the more you reach more people. Very important topic. Like I said now, I just said something very important. Many of us now, we don't spend naira at the parties anymore. We spend dollars. So we will get, for every dollar now, the naira is, you have to get 800 naira ready to be able to buy that $1 that you're going to spray at the party. So it's already showing that the dollar is so powerful against the naira. But why is that? And here's one of the things we want to really get us to understand. Why is that so? And what can we do? That's one of the reasons why we're saying that it is time that we break up contract with Nigeria. We didn't create Nigeria. The name Naira, it's okay, you're Nigeria, so it's Naira. So you can now use Naira. And they control all of that. When we have Yoruba nation, you will have Yoruba currency, and that's what we will do. And we will be more in control of that, and it will be more targeted to everything with our resources and everything else. And here's one of the reasons why de-dollarization is very, very important. Now, de-dollarization is the new game in town. Question 1. Is the dollar about to take a nosedive? If so, what is the likely impact on currencies around the world? Also, what is the dollar backed by, and why that is an important question. Finally, what possible solutions are available to countries to insulate themselves from possible decline in dollar value over the long term? 3 questions right there. Dollar about to take the nosedive. What's the impact around the world? So it's 2 questions in one there. What's the dollar backed by, and why is that important? 3, what's the possible solution available to countries to insulate themselves from possible decline in dollar value over the long term? So we would look at the questions again and we'll refresh. So, question number 1, obviously, the song we are hearing behind really talks about the fraudulent 1999 constitution. It's just one part of the song that you're hearing. There's a much more rounded part of it. The chorus line is ready and everything is just being finalized, and we will do that. We will do a big reveal. That will be the theme song for Citizen NY once we release it. It's a very good song, I believe, but I'll leave it to you guys to judge. And please, when you do hear it, do share it, because the message is very powerful, really powerful message in the song, and that's why we're so confident that once you hear the full song, you will all fall in love with it. It's really important. This is something because I'm not able to do as much in terms of being able to do long shows and things. I thought, okay, maybe at least with the song, it's got something in it. There's a message in there, so hopefully it resonates with you all. Let me know what you think of what you're hearing of that song in the background as we speak. Please, your comments are very important. Always leave comments on the broadcast as you watch it. Leave comments. The more you leave comments, I will come back and leave comments and share with others. Let's hear other people's views. Very, very important. Thank you very much. Now, de-dollarization. So let's go into the discussion proper. De-dollarization. What is it? Okay. De-dollarization. I'll make this bigger and I'll come back here. De-dollarization is a process of substituting US dollar as the currency used for trading oil or other commodities, i.e. petrodollars, buying US. So, around the world now, since 1974, thereabout, the world has actually, since they linked the dollar to oil, it's called petrodollars. Yeah, you see it in the link there. It's made it sort of what's the word? It becomes a currency that everybody around the world knows. So over 60% of the trade in the world is done in dollars. But that is going to be challenged. That is being challenged as we speak, and we'll go into detail as to why that is the case. So now we understand what de-dollarization is about. De-dollarization is that when over 60 to 70% of the world decide that they are going to get rid of their dollars. When we say get rid, we mean that many of the countries around the world, they hold their reserves, the currency reserves, in dollars. And they hold in the reserves in dollars because that way, when they want to trade among themselves, the goods they want, they say, okay, fine, how much are you selling it? I'll pay you this much dollars for it. And then they get the goods. And then when they want to buy again, so they trade in dollars. And then obviously, and also they hold their reserves. They hold whatever surplus you have is held in dollars because it makes it so that you'll have money ready to apply to be able to buy goods and services, because the dollar is generally recognized around the world to be the currency that is being used for trading. But that is about to change, or at least there are real strong indications that is going to really take a huge turn of events that is actually going to, it may mean in the next coming years or so that the dollar becomes not a currency that everybody recognizes, and a number of factors behind that, but we will go into that in detail. So that's the dollarization. So the question that was asked there, just to refresh, it's going to go by the question. It says here, like I said, it's a new game in town. It is, because, and that's why many people are aware of it. Like I said to you now, your dollar now, when you go to parties, every time you spray $1, you're spending 800 naira, and that 800 naira is called, they're saying that a loaf of bread now is 1,000 naira thereabouts in Nigeria. So your bread is even more expensive than the cost of your naira. So you're having to spend more of your naira to buy more of the dollars and to buy your foodstuff. So that is very important. So there are ways and things that you can do to change things around, but that's the question here. So now it says, is the dollar about to take a nosedive? If so, what is the likely impact on currencies around the world? Now, let us say that is a very important question, and it's in two parts. That question is in two parts. Part number one is what I'm about to show you. Recently, the US went to OPEC, Organization for Oil Producing Exporting Countries, OPEC. Cartels, sorry. So US went to OPEC and said, right, okay, we want to drop the price of the oil. So we want you to increase production. And OPEC said no. It says so here. So after OPEC refused to boost oil output today, US Senator Sherrod Brown called on the swift passage of legislation that would crack down on price fixing by OPEC countries that increases gas prices. The no oil producing exporting cartels would give US new authorities to take on action against OPEC countries that manipulate price of oil through collusion or price fixing. So straight away, it's about control. When your currency dominates the world, it effectively means that you control the world economy. And that has been the situation that the US has been in for a long time. So nobody challenged them. Nobody. But now there's a challenge coming from China and Russia. And that's why I said it's in two parts. So the OPEC oil producing countries, many of them, Qatar, Nigeria, and all these places, they all have, they produce oil. And Nigeria apparently was supposed to be producing 1 million barrels a day, for example. But that has dropped significantly. Here's something I want you to look at as we're talking about that. 1 second, please. Let me just get that there. 1 second. Okay, 1 minute. Let me just check what's going on here. I think it is. 1 second. Okay, so I want to just check something. I'm just checking a few things here. 1 second, please. There might be a message that I might have missed. I don't want to miss it necessarily. So, okay, so okay, 1 second, please. Just gonna check that. Okay. Okay, it's playing up. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, we'll come back to that later on. What I wanted to show you is this. Watch this for a few minutes. This is what we're Nigerian business. Sorry about that. Okay, sorry about that. Don't know what happened there. I'll get it back shortly. Sorry about that. So,
this is oil bunker. Someone is stealing it for somebody. And what should be one of the world's richest places is one of the poorest. 80 million Nigerians live in abject poverty. And the barefoot guy selling his bunkered oil on the street corner is just trying to survive. That is all you need to know about how politics.
So, that is something I want to that's just to provide a bit of a context. That's just intended to give you a bit of context so you understand what is really happening. So you now know that a lot of the oil, and it's not only the mafia cartel, there's all of the oil countries, all countries around the world, they come and you've heard about the oil, over 700,000 barrels of oil going missing a day. So much so that we're not able to meet our quota of 1 million barrels a day anymore. And the government are involved. They're actively encouraging the oil to be looted. So, and that affects our reserves. So the less reserves you have, the less money you will have to be able to buy the things that you need, or to be able to fund infrastructure development. So it has huge ramifications when we talk about reserves, having foreign reserves. But that is another area which we're going to look at. Now, I want you to look at, remember I talked about the first bit of it where I talked about the oil producing side, and that's why I put that video. Now, let's look at the second side of what is going to be a major threat. Already, the cartels, OPEC are saying, no, we're not going to increase oil production because they want the price of the oil high so they can make as much money for their own reserves as well. Many countries are beginning to think, look at, hang on, if we're printing money in the US dollars all the time, that means that they can control our value. They will control everything. And if they want to, they can export inflation out to us, because they could just say, okay, fine, print more money. Basically, that's what it means. The US can print as much money because over 60 or 70% of the world are relying on the US economy and dollar to trade, and it's recognized. So if they don't have to worry if there's something goes wrong. They just print more money in the US. But now when that money comes out, that means that the money that we have here, we start paying in terms of inflation in our own economy, because when they export the inflation out, because the more they print, that value, they're losing the value, the more of the money there is in circulation. That means that we are having to try and get more dollars to try and catch up with them, because many of us are using around the world. So because it's that common, people are going after it. Makes it a commodity for them to become. It becomes part of their own economy. So it's not, it's not just about their own economy alone. It's a whole world who they're trading with the whole world. So they can, if they make interest rate changes, it would impact the rest of the world negatively, and that's what's happening now. So when they increase now, because the value of all of the other currencies start falling against the dollar, so it makes everything more expensive for you to buy. And many countries are realizing, hang on, I don't want to be doing this. The OPEC countries are saying, no, we need to actually have our own. I want to have confidence in my own currency. I want to have other means other than the dollar to be able to hold my reserves. And the second part of what I'm saying now is this. What I'm going to about print now. BRICS. Yeah? Look at this now. BRICS. So what's BRICS? BRICS are 5 countries, economic countries that have decided to come together. They are known as Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. BRICS. Yes. So those are and there's some rumor that Saudi Arabia wants to join them. But they are BRICS. So what the BRICS are trying to do now, and here's where we need to understand, to slot in the middle of all of this now, the price of the oil. The US wanted to drop the price of the oil so they can make it affordable for their own economy and for the Europe as well. Remember, the US is supporting Ukraine against Russia because of the land issue in terms of the Ukrainian country. They took Crimea. Russia took Crimea in 2014, and then other things and thereabouts. So there's been a long history of this to and fro between Russia and US about Ukraine and all of that. And Russia has felt that US is supporting Ukraine and getting too close to its borders. And there is some justification for what Russia is saying. There is something called the Monroe Doctrine, that US will not let any other war power to have anything around its own, close to US. The Cuban crisis, that's the same thing that happened when the Soviets tried to go and put nuclear weapons in Cuba. They said no, so they had to move it and all that. Khrushchev and all that, and Khrushchev and the late president, whatever it's called again, it'll come to me. The one that was shot. It'll come to me anyway. So I was shot at the same time as God, I've forgotten my Mr. King, Kennedy. So the Russians withdrew. Now in this case now, Russia briefly believes that, hang on, look, the same doctrine of Monroe Doctrine should apply here. We shouldn't be having your nuclear weapons from foreign countries, nuclear power countries in close proximity to Russia, and they've been having a lot of to and fro about that, and that's why Russia took Crimea. And then there's also the US will say actually no, hang on, this is not about the Monroe Doctrine. It's about we're supporting independence. We promote democracy around the world, and Ukraine believes they have the democracy and we want to protect it, that kind of thing. So there's been a lot of to and fro on that. But here is now where you will understand why we're saying what we're saying in terms of the dedollarization. When this war between Russia and Ukraine, and with US joining and supporting Ukraine and bringing the whole of Europe in. Europe said, okay, but they're putting sanctions on Russia. Those sanctions meant that Russia said, okay, if you are putting sanctions, then I'm going to stop selling you oil. So when they put the sanctions, before the sanctions came into effect, Russia said, you know what, I don't want dollars. You pay me in rubles. So they will tell them, okay, I'm not want you, since you're sanctioning me, I don't want dollars. Pay me in rubles. So the European countries were going to pay, they're going to pay until about December this year, I think, in rubles. So because, and there's been a lot of sanctions against Russia, but Russia has got the backing of China. So Russia has been, instead of selling oil to Europe, they've been selling to China. And the money, the agreement that is reached now between Europe and Russia, Russia had sold up to that point and said, okay, fine, we're not going to sell since you're sanctioning me. I'm not going to do that. So they've been selling to other places. Now, what that has done is that they were hoping that if you have more oil, the price of the oil will drop. So what has happened is that instead of having that gap, Russia has got an agreement with China to start taking the oil that's all the oil that's not been sold as much to Europe and the whole of Europe. China has been taking it. Again, they've had a discussion among themselves because they're in the BRICS. Remember, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. So they've been, and in fact, India has been buying some of the oil as well. So, and there's been some talk about trying to make sure that all of as many countries as possible supported the US against Russia. And that would have meant that they wouldn't have bought the oil. They wouldn't have, if China had done that, not bought the oil, or India, then it would have been very difficult for Russia to be able to maneuver and sustain itself. But because of the this issue of whereby there is it's China and Russia and India and others are doing that, then the domination that US wanted has not taken place. But it's gone to such an extent now that the cost of the oil, they try to put pressure on OPEC to increase the price, the oil, so they can reduce the price. So you see here, swift message to allow the increased pressure on oil cartel to bring down gas prices. So they said, no, we're not going to increase the oil production. We're going to drop it. We're not going to increase it. We're going to leave it as it is, so we can get more for our money. So that's where that comes in. So now, where does de-dollarization come in? De-dollarization now comes in at this particular point. Like I said, remember the BRIC countries. Now, the US now trying to put pressure on China and others and say, no, we will dictate the price of the oil. But China now is in discussions. They've had meetings with Saudi Arabia and other countries because they're both oil producing. And obviously, not China, Russia has been having discussions. And I remember I said, I think India bought oil, is buying more and more of its oil from China rather than from Russia, rather than from where we would get it from Saudi Arabia and everything else. So there's a bit of horse trading going on in that area. But what that means is that now impacts the cost of it has two effects. One, the cost of the oil goes down. Now, because they are now trading, and because Russia is now trading with more and more people, Russia is saying, no, we want our own. We want you to trade in ruble. So, which is now in the short term, in fact, the value of ruble has gone up because people trading more and more in it has meant now it's now growing up in value as against many 6, 7. If you go and look 6 or 7 months ago or 8 months ago, the value was very low. But because of the sanctions, and then Russia decided, no, you pay me in rubles. They pushed up the value of the ruble, and then the Chinese working with them and all that. And also we're hearing that the Chinese are doing a lot of and Japanese as well. They're getting rid of their dollars, so that they realize that they have to show up their own currency. But there are various means of doing that, which I'm not going to go into detail about. There's there's bond market, there's different things that they can use, levers they can pull, they can use interest rates, they can, but they have to be careful about getting the balance right, because if they do too much, it can actually affect the economy, their own economy, in the way they don't want. So it's a long game. I think Russia and China and all the countries who are trying to do the right, they are playing a long game, that they're betting that over time, the dollar will, initially now it is very strong, but over time it's actually going to drop in value. And when it drops, it will not be, the dollar will not be, before they were just able to print money and say fine, we'll hold the value. Then they will not be able to print money, because more and more countries around the world will be saying, no, we don't want the dollars. We want it in our value, in our own currency, or in the currency that might be the ruble or the China money, because that is where they're trading with more and more. So it will come to a point where the tipping point will be when they get to below 50%. When the trade of the goods and services around the world moves from current 60% to maybe 30-40%, and other countries, then you can start seeing that shift. Then that means that people will not have the confidence, because a lot of the currency is not the currency that's the issue. It's the confidence in the currency that, yes, it's going to be used around the world. So now when you just have another country currency challenging that means that the dollar now has got something that's going against it, and people are not going to readily accept that. And that means that if the US now print money on that basis, it is going to just ruin its own economy in the long term, because it's not going to have the impact of exporting inflation out of its own currency, which it's currently doing. So that is why de-dollarization is very, very important. Now, so I hope that answers that second part of the question, which I talked about. I've talked about the oil, I've talked about the war and the connection between the two, and how that is driving the urgency for many countries looking forward to, say, 5-10 years from now, and say, okay, fine, I can see a point where the dollar is no longer the top dollar, and other countries can challenge it, and it will lose its value. So, and on top of that, now we want to talk about, let me go back to the question again. Sorry. I hope you're following me. So the next question is now. So now, when we talked about that the dollar, if it loses value, what's the impact on the currencies around the world? When it loses value, if you have your money in dollars, countries that do not suddenly start getting of it, when the dollar now loses value, that is to say that there's less countries around the world willing to accept dollars. That means that your value of the dollars that you're holding will drop in your own hands. So your own currency that's tied to it will drop. Very important to understand. So those of you now who are in Nigeria, dollar. Your $1 that you're now using 800 pound naira to buy would suddenly mean that dollar is not worth that 900. In fact, you might end up, the dollar will drop in value, and as it's dropping, it will hit your value. So the dollar may suddenly go against the Chinese yen or something. It might drop by 50%, so that now they become almost parity, and that means that the whatever value. So if it drop by 50%, say, so the value of that $1 now, that means that it's almost half of the money that you pay again. You have to pay more to get that same thing, and it is not worth the same value, because it is now another currency will now be the one that is now challenging, and people will just say no. So your dollar will lose value. So people are trying to get rid of it before it happens, and that is what the discussion is about now. Now, the key thing to say about this is that let me go back to, there's a point I want to make here. Where was it now? Now, yes, leads me to the next question. So, also, what is dollar backed by, and why is it important? So currently, you heard me say petrodollars earlier on. Let me see if I can show you. So you see, it says here, de-dollarization, petrodollars. So dollar was backed when they reached an agreement in 1974. So let's quickly go into that. Let me quickly go into that thing. And I'm trying to, hopefully make sense. So I'm not going to go into too much detail about this, but I'm going to show you when that move to delink the dollar from the gold, because the dollar was linked to the gold. So let me see now. Let me see if I can find it for you. Oh, okay, hold on. I'm trying to find that now. No, I can't find it. Okay. Okay, now, yes. There's something called the Bretton Woods back in 1971, I think it is. So let me just type that up. So, when last was the dollar linked to gold, backed by gold? Okay, now okay, so I'm trying to find. Yeah, it was backed by gold in 1934, and then 1974. So let me just check this. I'll just make sure. Okay, I want to make sure. Yes, here we go. That's it. Okay, so this is the one I wanted you to understand. So this is very important to see. So the gold standard was the basis of the International Monetary Fund system in 1970s and 80s and 20s, 1870s and 1920s, and from the late 1920s, 1932, 1944 to 1971, when the United States unilaterally terminated the convertibility of US dollars to gold foreign central banks, effectively ending Bretton Woods. So let me just type what Bretton Woods is so we can understand that. What is Bretton Woods? So let's just do that in so that we can all learn this well. What is Bretton Woods? Okay. Okay. So. Okay. Okay, I better come in then. Sorry, 1 minute. So, listen, guys, I'm gonna have to pause this. I'm gonna pause this, and I'll be back later on. I'll be back in a bit. 1 second. Yeah. So Bretton Woods. What's Bretton Woods? So let's just make sure we check that. So let's do that again. Now, Bretton Woods system was the fourth example of a fully negotiated monetary order intended to govern monetary relations among independent states. So, let me just check what it says here. Those are Bretton Woods envisioned an international monetary system that would ensure exchange rate stability, prevent competitive devaluations, and promote economic growth. Although all participants agreed on the goals of the new system, plans to implement them differed. So that's the Bretton Woods system, and you see the picture there shows you what they were in the meeting and everything else. Many of those things, anyway, we'll go into that later on. So that was when it was, taken away from when it. In 1971, they didn't. They no longer linked the naira. I'm sorry, the dollar to gold. So that's very important to understand, and it goes back to the central question that we were asking before. In the second part, also, what is dollar backed by, and why is that an important question? Now, a very important question at this juncture, I wanted to state. And again, keep in mind, I am just giving you my own understanding of how things are working. I'm not an expert in any way, shape, or form. But sometimes they often go to talk about these things in layman terms as much as I understand, and using my little accounting experience and knowledge a little bit to a certain extent. But that was my background. But anyway, put that to one side. What we are now looking at in terms of what we said now is that Why is it important? It is important because right now the dollar is only linked to what is said before. Petrodollar. You see in here? Let me see if I can make that bigger. So let me make that bigger for you. So see here, it's petrodollar. You see? So what does that mean? It means that in effect the US have the infinite, they can print dollars to infinity, and they can dictate the value of it as and when they wish, but they can only do that for as long as majority of the world are using dollars. So they've got you, many of us, if you're trading in dollars and using dollars around the world, then they can print as many money as they want, and they will tell you the rate at which you are going to get their dollar. They will decide. They hold all the controls. There's nothing you can do about that because there's many of you using those dollars. That's very, very important. That's the power. That's the strength of the dollar. The fact that over 60% of the world's countries are using dollars as we speak. But that's about to change. And that is what we are trying to really emphasize and hopefully make people understand about what we're saying here in terms of de-dollarization. It's really, really a very central point. And it is now about to spin on its head. Now, let's go back to what I was showing you before. Where was it? 1 second again. So, see those things? Back in the 1870s and 1920s and 1932 until 1944, it was linked to gold. Now there is some talk of linking dollar back to gold. Let's give you an example of what I mean. Let me see if I can find it somewhere here. Let me just give you example. I mean, I hope this is not long-winded. It's just sometimes we have to look at it from our point of view and how it impacts the naira. I'm going to talk about that as well. Gold and dollars. Okay, so let's have a look at this now. I'm just trying to see. So they're not doing that yet. I can't see it yet. There has been some talk now that the US should possibly begin to look at some point linking dollars, making sure that the dollar is backed by gold. So to back dollars with gold. So let me see. Let's have a look at that one. Let me see if that works, because I've seen something and trying to see how that works. Let me look here. There we go. Now I know it sounds far-fetched. Question: can the US go back to gold standard? So that's what I wanted you to understand now. That won't be too big of an issue if you want, for the fact that US doesn't have enough gold in its reserve to pay it all back. So for US president to unilaterally return to gold standard, the country would have to exponentially replenish its gold reserves in advance. Right. So can you see what I'm saying? So now that the dollar is, many of the Western world, many of the countries around the world, the euro, the dollar, the pound, yen, and all of that, they have effectively, because of there's no longer a direct link between the currency and the gold, they can print as much money. If there is a problem with the economy, they just print more money to get people spending. But the value of their currency is, the more money they print, the less value each of those currencies is. That is the problem with this. And then what that means is inflation. So what that means is that then the more you spend more money to buy less goods. And that is the problem that we all face. And that is why there's so much inflation. 10% in the UK, for example. I'm just giving an example. This is not an expert. I'm just giving you day-to-day examples. And that is why the UK government suddenly, when Liz Truss, who it was, let's be frank, it was her policy, but then she got her then Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng she threw him under the bus. She was talking about, yes, we're going to give get rid of the 45p top rate of tax. We're going to make sure that it's good for business, and then it will trickle down the economy and all that. That spooked the market to such an extent that the Bank of England had to print lots of money to buy back those bonds because people were getting rid of it. And it would drop in value. It could hit a lot of the pensioners. I know a lot of pensioners were invested in some of those really markets that would give better yields. So the government, to keep those values, they had to print more money to then keep that value in there. If you see now, currently, I think that the pound is about 112 to $1 or thereabouts. It's hovering around that, and that is because of this thing about quantitative easing, and that impacts a lot of things. Of course, Nigeria is not excluded. We've said it. Nigerian naira has tanked. One of the problems with the naira was that they always operated a two-step currency exchange, one for the north and one for the south. The south were paying in effect for two things: paying for the north and paying for the real price of the dollar to naira rate. So at one point, the crazy idea for a government to have in the north, people in the north paying only 20 to pay for $1 to pay 20 naira. We in the south are paying. We were paying at that point 600, 400, 500, 600 to the dollar. So you see that they built in a systemic failure in the system. They built in a system. In fact, one of my friends ended up in jail for exposing this fact, and now it is now come home to roost. Because had it been that we had one exchange rate, not one for the south, one for the north. Had it been we had one exchange rate, we could have probably have not the sudden jump in the price of dollar to now 800. As we speak now, it is 800 naira to $1. That probably wouldn't have happened. But because of this nonsense, the people that should not be in government, the people that have no idea how an economy runs in government, deciding, okay, we are going to say that in the north, you just bring 20 naira. And 20 naira for $1. In the south, oh no, you pay the full rate, full whack, 400, 500, 600 to the dollar. And how does that help any economy? So this money was being taken away. They were giving away the money that could have been used in the economy to build, and we don't know how much money was taken out by that policy alone. So these are things that has really damaged our economy. Now, the link between the dollar and the naira is where this gold is very, very important. And I will show you something. You remember, I just showed you now. They said if the US was going to go back to gold standard, they would have to first pay back. They don't have enough gold. They'll have to find enough gold to pay back all the value of the money they have. So if that money, if they were going to go to gold, the value of the money they hold would have to be found in gold. They haven't got enough gold to do that. They haven't. So they have a problem. That is basically where they are now. They have a problem. And that is why we those of us in Nigeria particularly, we need to really understand what is happening. Many of those so-called of our leaders were buying dollars, whereas if the dollar tanks, many of them would be worthless, because our own economy, we have not built in any there is no guarantee to protect the naira. There isn't. This is where this talk about the gold is very important. Now let me show you something. I want you to see something. Now it's okay. Where is it? I know it's a bit long-winded, but just bear with me. Now look at the, apparently US has got 60 or 70 trillion dollars debt, and they only have in gold reserves, United States, something like 8,100 and something tons of gold reserves. So it's nothing like, if you're going to become, loosely, I'm just giving an example. I don't know if it's a value, gold reserves, tons, in millions. So they have tons, 8,000. You see that? But they haven't got enough gold to match the 60-70 trillion dollars. So if they were going to say, okay, fine, we're going to link it to gold, they need to have equally that amount of gold. So that's the problem that they have. So they are stuck in a rock and a hard place, between a rock and a hard place. They're thinking about, okay, because at some point they will get to a point whereby they can continue to raise the interest rate to make sure that the dollar doesn't drop its value. But if the other countries around the world start moving and de-dollarizing, that the inflation that they've been exporting will come straight back into the economy. So everything will get worse. So and now we all know it's a Ponzi scheme. Many people have said many of the European countries are doing a Ponzi scheme. They're printing endless amount of currency with nothing backing it, and that is why they are stoking up inflation. That is why the cost of goods are high, because there is the more they print, the more worthless the currency becomes, and that is one of the things that the clueless people who call themselves leaders in Nigeria are doing to our economy, not realizing what they're doing. Now let me show you something. So the US now have to decide, do we try, and how are they going to pay the 60-70 trillion or whatever amount of debt that they've now of printing the money, because they're printing debt. They're giving how much, 2 or 3 billion to each bank every day or something like that, I'm hearing. And in fact, it was one of the shows I try and go into detail about that. And what that means is that the banks are leveraged more than they can actually cope with. So the whole thing will come crashing down. It will do. So now, and they will do, and the reason why it will crash is because, like I said, remember, I said the BRICS countries, they are beginning to build more and more members. Those BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, the more they would have, either they would use their currency as a group of currencies to now compete against the dollar. And if people find it favorable, people would rather de-dollarize. They would de-dollarize and then be moving to those host of currencies, or maybe they'll make one currency, we don't know yet. And we're hearing rumors that Saudi Arabia is planning to join them. So, and that's one of the largest oil blocks. So now that is another issue right there. That means that if people start moving towards that, so if the US now decide, oh no, we can print, they are just going to print themselves into a economic disaster. So that is the question that they have. So remember I said about the gold. Now, let us go to Nigeria. And this is where, before I go to Nigeria, I want to look at China. Let me show you what Ghana has done recently. Ghana links gold to, links gold to cedis. Gold to cedis. Let's have a look at that. Now, so on the 11th of August 2022, the Bank of Ghana embarked on gold purchase asset to buy gold locally to shore up the currency reserves and balance. Do you see what I'm saying? So they started doing this a couple of years ago, but they're doing more. So Ghana has Ghana and a lot of companies go to Ghana, export gold, and they take it out of the country. but it is not reflected in the bank, the Bank of Ghana's reserves. So they have very low gold reserves. So if the cedis were to crash, it is not protected by anything, and they were losing the gold. And I remember the bank, the president of Ghana, Kufuor, I think, Nana Kufuor, I think is saying recently that we're buying more of our gold so that we can have our reserves in gold to be backing the cities. Now that is something that we in Nigeria should begin to look at. Now let us see how much gold Ghana has in Ghana. How much gold mines in Ghana? Let's have a look at that. I'm just trying to show you a few things here. So gold mines in Ghana. Yeah. Now let's go and have a look at this. Now, okay, how much gold mines in Ghana? Okay. In Ghana. So are they trying to okay. Okay. Now I'm trying to see how many tons of that equates to, because I'm trying to compare like for like. But I'm going somewhere with this. Bear with me. Let me just see. So they have a lot of mining. Ghana accounts for 5% of country's GDP minerals, making up 37% of the gold export of the total export. Gold contributes 90% of the total mineral exports. Okay, so how much? Okay, let me just go back 1 second. Let me just do something, please. In tons, yeah? Let me just see. I'm just trying to get an idea, just to give you an idea of where they are. Okay. Right, the production. Okay. 11.6 in 2021, 107.6 metric tons was produced. Yeah? Let's have a look at that now. Let me have a look at that. So now, the gold reserve that Ghana had up until 2021 was 8.74. Now the beginning, because now they are now linking the cedis to the gold, they're going to be buying more of the gold. So when they extract gold, the government will use cedis to buy that gold and keep it in their Bank of Ghana reserves. So they will begin to increase the number of the amount of gold they have in the reserves. So rather than a lot of the gold leaving the country, it's going to stay in the country, and it would actually protect the economy of Ghana. It would protect the economy because the value is going to be held. The cedis, they will pay for the gold in cedis, and that value will hold in gold. As against in the paperless, this cedi has it can't hold anything. Now, so you can see what is, and they have only 8.75, so 74 tons in the bank in reserves. Now, let us see. So how many? So I'm just trying to see. So Ghana has produced 5 million in 2020, surpassing South Africa's 3.5 million. So Ghana is actually doing quite well, and they've ramped that up. But I wanted to just see. I was trying to see how many gold mines. So let me just get this right. I want to try and see. Total mine production amounted to 1 in 2021. So now, they're one of the largest. It says the leading African producing country with total mine of 117.6 metric tons in 2021. So now let's go and compare with Nigeria. I hope this makes. I know it's a bit. I'm throwing a lot of numbers up in the air, but what I'm trying to get us to understand is that there is no. You see, if they print cedis, it is only determined by the international markets. What Ghana does in its own economy will not impact that, because that is determined by the monetary fund and all of that. How they value it in terms of the power, the strength of the cedis in the international market, as against the strength of the dollar in the international market. Keep in mind, dollar has over 60% of the world market. people will buy things in dollars. How many? You cannot, certainly Ghana does not have that strength. It's even in the West African area will be struggling alone. So already that would mean that it's a weaker currency. But if you now go into gold, initially paying for that gold via CD will be expensive. But once you pay for it, the value will stay in it for longer. And that means that you have a buffer, a cushion. Now your foreign reserves will now be in gold currency. And you have loads of it. So they're now upping the number of, they want to increase it from their current figure of 8.74, if I'm correct. Yeah, let me see. 8.74 is what they said. Let me see. So let me see. Okay, how much do they have? So large mining countries throughout. Okay, so what? Let me see. I'm trying to see. Yeah, so they have number. It's 74 metric tons, with the largest gold holdings amount to 74 metric tons. So I'm trying to read. Now, so that's Ghana right there. Now let's go to Nigeria, and I want to make a direct comparison. Nigeria right now, you know, in fact, you know what, before I go back, let me go to see what Ghana has in terms of, it says 8.74, but I just want to confirm it on here, on the gold reserves that you see that they have on here. And that's straight away, if they're going to, we have gold in Africa, and we need to keep that value. So now, you see, 8.74. You see, I told you that before. That's the figure there. Let me make that bigger. 8.74. Can you see that? 8.74. And they want to up that now. Ghana wants to up that. So what? And if they up that by buying more gold, the government will be the ones going buying more of their gold before it leaves the country. Now let me see if I can find what Nana Akufo said on that. Let me just go. Ghana to buy more gold. Let me just put it here. So I want you to see it. Ghana to buy more gold. So that you won't think I'm just saying this, you know, Ghana to buy more gold. Let me see. More gold. Okay, so now let's have a look at this. Okay, now here we go. So now let me show you. This is by let me have a look at it. So you see now, Ghana is strengthening our currency by changing our reserve currency from dollar to gold. You see what I mean? So Nigeria now, they'll change everything. When you're buying dollar, you are only making the dollar stronger and making naira weaker. When you are spraying dollar at parties, you are only making dollar stronger and naira weaker. So when you think you're having fun, you are actually ruining your own economy. Do you get it? I hope this makes sense. Because the parties are the best one I can explain. If you go to Nigerian parties, they're spraying dollars. You are giving strength to the dollar and you are weakening the naira. And this is one of the reasons why we need to separate from countries from Nigeria. When we go for Yoruba Nation, you would only be, we would encourage you to ensure that Yoruba Nation, Yoruba country is what you put your confidence in. You make sure it's within your economy. If that's where your investment, you're investing your blood, your sweat, your tears into that currency to make sure it protects you. And because it's going to be linked to gold, it will make it easier to be able to sustain that. Let me just show you what I mean here. I want to play you something here. Let me see. Let me show you this. I just want to quickly show you this now. So
behind every high-performing team is the...
Sorry about that. I don't want that noise. Sorry, mute that. Okay, so we don't want that. We just make that smaller. That's not what I wanted to do. Sorry. I want to just quickly forward this and make that small, because we do not want that. That's not what I wanted. Okay, so now I want to show you something. I want to hear when he talks. Now I want you to hear what Nana Akufo talks about here, or the reserves. Now, listen to this now. Listen to this bit. Listen to this now.
It's one of the largest producers of gold in the world, and we have been so for almost 100 years.
You see?
Notwithstanding, at the end, Ghana's reserves of gold at the central bank. We, this largest producer of gold. Notwithstanding that,
Listen.
Ghana's reserves of gold at the central bank at the end of 2021 was only 8.7 kilograms.
What did I tell you?
That is our quantum of gold reserve.
What did I tell you?
And it is against this background that the Bank of Ghana started a gold purchase program from gold producers. From gold producers to build up its foreign exchange reserves. To enhance this gold purchase program, government is implementing a new policy.
Listen now.
Which is already backed by law.
Listen.
And under this new policy, the Bank of Ghana, the central bank, will have the first right of refusal for all gold mined in Ghana.
Are you listening?
We have the first right of refusal. The law says if you mine gold, we can buy it off you. And so the central bank will have the first right of refusal, and the central bank will purchase the gold at world market prices, and the mining companies will export the portion that is not purchased by the central bank.
Are you listening? Can you see that they got a clap there? Let's listen more. Let's listen more. Listen more.
This is a very, very important policy.
Listen.
Ultimately, once we accumulate enough gold, our future borrowing and our currency can be backed by gold. This will stabilize the cedi in the long term.
What did I say? It's about stability for your economy. When you hold more of your value in your gold in your country from your own soil, there's nothing else will come out of it but stability. Listen on.
We must also deepen our industrialization through value addition to gold. Even though Ghana has 2 gold refineries, none has the London Bullion Market Association certification, and this limits our full participation in the gold value chain. We will urgently work towards LBMA certification for our refineries in the next few years.
Thank you very much.
So that was I have to say thanks to AS, the Ghanaian channel on YouTube. Say thank you very much for them, AS1. So I got that information from there. I just wanted to just show that to you. So what am I saying in essence? So now you can now see that this is a very good move. I know Ghana is going through a tough time now, and many African countries are going through a tough time because of the lack of productivity, the lack of value added chain to our mineral resources. The value added chain is what many of the Western countries are using to reap Africa off, because they're making finished goods and bringing it to us and taking our raw materials for peanuts. So these are really important points that I'm making here. I hope that makes sense. Let me just go back again and play that. Sorry about that. So 1 second, please. So I was just yeah, here we go. So now what I'm saying here, it's very, very important. So you can now see that the cities is backed by the reserve currency is dollar. Now, what is reserve currency for Nigeria? Let's have a look at that. So you can begin to understand what I'm saying here, and I'll probably do a live program about this. For Naira, yeah. Okay, let me just see what it says. Let's have a look. Okay, what is the reserve currency for Naira? Let's have a look at this. So the Naira is an official and is used only in Nigeria. You see? So now, okay. So you see, so it's only worth, 1 Naira is only worth 0.0002 of a cent. You see? So already that means, without even saying, even if they don't tell you, you will know that. And a lot of people, dollar is used a lot in a country from Nigeria. So that tells you the weakness of that money. And the only way we can get that back. Now let me show you something. Furthermore, I hope this is making sense. Please, I know it's a bit long-winded, but do bear with me. Let me show you something. The gold reserve right now in Nigeria. Let's go and look at Nigeria. You know, Ghana, they're one of the largest producers of gold. They only have 8.74. In Nigeria, now we don't know whether it's true or not, because we can't trust even the figures that are coming out from Emefiele. We cannot trust the figures. But let us see what they put down as a figure for Naira, for the gold reserves in Nigeria. Let us see the figures on here, because every country that has all that, they are here. So I'm going to try and find out for you. Just give me a minute. It's funny when you're looking for something, it suddenly goes AWOL, and you're thinking it's there. I just saw it, but it will come back. Just give me a minute. So here we go. So look at that. Nigeria is 21.37 tons in bank reserves. See, let's go on the top there. Let me show you. So gold reserve tons. So that's the gold reserve that we have, 21.37. Now let me go and show you something. Right now in Nigeria, this is how much gold we have in our resources. We have 600,000 tons of primary gold deposits found in northwest, central, and southwest Nigeria. 600,000 tons. Out of that 600,000 that are mined, this is what we have in gold reserve, 21.37. Can you see that? Tons. In tons, oh. So we have over 550,000 tons, of which we should be the first one, like very much like Ghana is doing. We should be making sure that all our currency is now tied to our gold. 600,000 tons. But these people who are in government, this is why I'm saying, and I'm sure that that's just even the conservative estimate. When we do the amount of gold that's been taken out of that country now is crazy by other countries that the government is giving, allowing to take the things out, and they don't understanding what is going on. They just bring dollar. Dollar is valueless, and it is going to go down the toilet in the next year or two if this carries on, because they're just printing. It's little more. They call it a Ponzi scheme, whereby they will take some money. Yeah. Let's all bring the money together. We have a new. They call it a new product. That product, you will pay the first ones that comes, and then the new one, the people that come behind them, they get money from there to pay the ones behind them, and so on and so on. The people who are the end, when they stop that product, will be out of pocket. That is what dollar is. It's a Ponzi scheme. It is nothing more than a Ponzi scheme. And these are the things. But if you have your currency backed by gold, you are safe and secure. And that's what I wanted to really bring to our attention tonight. It's really, really important. I'm going to talk about this on the live show. Please, please, please. Those of you spending dollar, you should be, you know what should be good? What should be, if you are going to party anywhere in the world and you spend your currency, by that time I'm hoping that it will be Yoruba currency. That currency, you spend it there, because that you are taking this, you are keeping the strength of your economy in that currency. Particularly if it's backed by gold, you can do that. And these are the kind of things. Buying, take it, go and change the money and buy that and spraying it. You are actually spending more of our own currency that you can use to build roads, water, light, school, bridges. You're spending it in the foreign economy that will take the money from you and use whatever they want to do. That money has to stay within our own economy. That's the reality of what we're trying to say here. I know it's long-winded, but these are the kind of things we need to look at. 21.37. Look at that. Nigeria has over 600,000 tons. And that's why we're saying we need to go. There's no point in having the point of discussing with anybody. So Nigeria has 90% of the gold mining in the country is carried out by small artisanal miners, employing around 85% of the workforce in the sector. So it is an untapped opportunity, and the government, very much like the government, should hurriedly, if they were serious about it, this is why I didn't want to say this, but right now, Yoruba, in the southwest, in the southeast, we need to be looking at. We don't have a problem at all. We do not. We are able to sustain ourselves. We have oil, we have gold, and the world is going to go back to gold. They know that. How many of the Western countries have gold mines? How many? And that is why it is important that we now begin to look at how we do things. We need to. Ghana has done the right move by linking the cedis to the gold. Initially, they'll pay more money they'll pay more cedis to get their gold, and they say they give themselves. They're the first refusal. Right now, what should be happening, and that's why we need to go for Yoruba Nation, Biafra Nation, Middle Belt, because those people who are in Nigeria, they have no idea what the value of what they hold. They're throwing everything away and leaving the people to suffer on a foreign currency that is going to shortly, in the next, 2 to 10 years, let's say 10 years, medium to long term. The balance of interest from the balance of currency, the use of currency would shift from the US to something else. We don't quite know what. Maybe one currency, maybe a mix, maybe, but that is what is happening. And as soon as the US dollar falls in the use of it around the world to below 50, 40, 30%, big problems. Whoever holds on to those things, those countries that still hold on to that, you are at a loss. You are at a loss. You are literally at a loss. And that is what we need to understand in all of what we're saying. That is why we're saying it is important. We need to ensure that we go for Yoruba Nation, Biafra Nation, Middle Belt, because the people who are in government that are telling you to believe in one Nigeria, they have no plan. They are telling you to believe in one Nigeria. We have 600 tons. I'm showing you 600 tons of primary alluvial and primary gold deposit. And in our bank, central bank, we only have deposit for, get this right, 21.37. That is Nigeria right there. I'm showing you. And that is why we're saying enough is enough. These people are going to ruin the coming generation if we leave that place as one. We need to go. We can interact. Wales, Scotland, England, Northern Ireland, they are trading as independent nations. We can do the same thing, and that's what we will. There are nations that they can trade together, and that is what we must do. That is where our strength lies, and we need to let our language, our culture, our resources to benefit our people. This is the future that I envisage for Yoruba Nation. I envision a future where the people will benefit from the resources beneath their feet, where they will keep the gold will be linked to Yoruba currency. The gold they find in Biafra will be linked to Biafran currency. The gold found in the Hausa land will be linked to the Hausa currency. So nobody has to be impoverished. And we can keep the value, and that will benefit our economy. In the oil, we cannot be. Please stop this. Just wake up. What we're saying, we need you to wake up and see that the time has come for us to dismantle contract from Nigeria. It is intended to enslave all of us, and we need to go, particularly the indigenous people. So I'm showing you this. Let me go back to the question I posed earlier on. Now, okay, so the question, in fact, I've answered it by showing you I went in too far. No, right. So what possible solutions are available for countries to insulate themselves from possible decline in dollar value over the long term? So that's what I just talked to you about now. I talked about the fact of linking your own national currencies to your reserves, to your gold, to your resources. The gold that you have in your land, you can link to it. Already, the US have a problem. They've got so much, they've owed so much that they cannot. Let me show you what I mean. They cannot. And this is what we need to know. The US, it won't be an issue if one for the fact that the US doesn't have enough gold reserves to pay it all back. How much gold reserve does the US have? They have only 8,000 tons. See that? 8,000 tons. Just in Nigeria alone. Let's say we split it in 3 or 4 ways. 600,000 in Nigeria. Ghana has it. We don't know the exact, but this is what I'm saying. We have been so conditioned to believe in all of these lies. It is time we woke up. It is time we woke up. And I'm going to do programs about it. I'm going to talk about this in a greater detail. But I'm sure 8,000 tons. How much does UK have? They got 310 tons of gold. Can you see what I'm saying? We really literally need to wake up. Yoruba nation must come. And the people who have 310 tons of gold, they don't have gold reserves mines anywhere in UK. In Nigeria, I'm telling you, and this is why that is why you can now see that the West are intent on destabilizing areas of mineral resources so they can exploit it. That is what is happening. Do you think that this comes? Oh, Abuja, there's going to be something else. Do you think they're coming there to? Do you think that it's not planned? This is planned. So this is why I'm telling everybody, Yoruba, Biafra, Igbo, we need to work together in our communities, protect ourselves, decide how we need to go as nations, as Yoruba nation, Biafra nation, Middle Belt, and we need to protect ourselves. We have the right to self-determination. We have the right to self-determination. That Nigerian constitution is a fraud. UK has only 310 tons of gold reserves. We in our soil, we have 600,000 tons. It's time we woke up. It really is time we need to link it to. We must link it to our currency. Yesterday, Ghana has done it. I've shown you the video. I hope this makes sense. This video should go viral. If you are serious about building anything, this video should go viral because the information contained within it, I've told you, I've given you a raw view, and I've brought it down to it's broken it down into how it impacts us within that in Africa, and we have the power to make the change ourselves. We don't need anybody else. We don't need this flipping religion nonsense. That is distraction. Remember, look at this. UK, 310 tons of gold. US, 8,000. We have, I'm sorry I'm shouting, but it's just so frustrating when I see what is being done, and we have the opportunity to change things and to make a better future for the coming generations. Literally. This stuff will pray to what? Time to wake up. Stop that nonsense. You have everything you need. Now it's time for you to collectively work together. Now, let me just here we go. So Nigeria, 21.37 tons in bank reserves. But if you look in our soil, how much do we have? That's what I want you to really focus on. 600,000 tons. That's just me. I'm telling you what we can do. And I'm not even touching the oil. We know for a fact, I just showed you the video, our oil is being stolen by countries. Because we are not busy, we're not combining, using our talents to build our land. And that is why we're saying enough is enough. Yoruba nation must start. Nigeria is a fraud. My ancestors had no part in making Nigeria. Neither did your ancestors as Biafrans or Middle Belters or Hausas. None of that. My ancestor is a Yoruba people, or your kingdom, and we're going to bring it to life together, collectively. But I'm showing you information that you need, so you know that you are okay. When we start Yoruba Nation today, we are okay. I want you to know that we are okay, more than okay, and we need to wake up. So I will come back and talk about this in greater detail. But I want you to look at this picture and understand that Yoruba Nation must come. Biafra must come. Middle Belt must come, because the creation of Nigeria has never been for the benefit of the indigenous people. It has been for the benefit of the colonials. I am not a Nigerian. I am a Yoruba man. It is in my veins. It's in my DNA. It's in my DNA. You need to wake up. This is the fraud that's been perfected on us. Time we woke up. Wake up. Wake up, my people. So 3 things that I spoke about. I want you to show you So you can see that now. So you can see, I'm going to move that picture up because I want you to see that. So that's gold in your soil. It's not anywhere else. It's in your soil. Now, so look at this. So 3 questions we asked. We've dealt with it. De-dollarization, what it is, what it means. We've talked about it. And it's a new game in town. 1, is the dollar about to take a nosedive? If so, what likely impact on currencies around the world? We already told you. If the dollar goes the way, and the dollar will only, if once the BRIC countries and other countries come together and create an alternative currency. Once the dollar falls below 50, 40 or 30% in terms of the demand in the world, that is it. Dollar is done for, and there's no currency to back it. They haven't got enough gold reserves to back what they are printing. They haven't got it. I've just showed you. I've broken this down. We have more than enough. As Yorubas, as Biafrans, as Middle Belt, there's gold there for us. I told you in Yoruba land alone, there are 6 gold mines that we know of. 6 minimum in 8 states, and we have untold resources. What do they have in the West? What do they have? It's time we woke up. It really is time. And this message is for each and every one of us. We have every right to go for self-determination, and we must go for it. We must. So I hope this information, you share it. And watch this video. I know it might be a bit, sketchy here and there, but the information is very important. If you can manage to watch it through the end, go and look at the sites that I put on there. Type it in. Do the research yourself. We have everything we need. We need to stop allowing ourselves to be tricked by all of these different models and ideas that's been done to divide us, so that we never ever build something concrete in our Yoruba land, in Biafra and the Middle Belt. We have everything we need there. I want you to know and believe that. Don't forget Ghana now. Any gold they find in that country, they give themselves first refusal before it leaves their country. That's what we should be doing right now. Yesterday, the bank of, if they were going to talk about, but these people, we can't even have this. We cannot have this intelligent discussion with Emefiele or anybody. None of them. Not with Atiku. Not with the Miloko. We cannot have this discussion with them. We better off let everybody go their own separate way. Then we can come together as independent nations and work and trade among ourselves, and then trade with the rest of the world. And that is the way forward. That is the roadmap to a better future for the coming generation. I guarantee you that. Right. Okay. So that's me ranting. I'm sorry, but I'm just showing you. We answered the questions and we gave you, the things. So dollar, the countries around the world now, they don't want it to happen. They don't want us they don't want to think about it. But we are telling you, what is quantitative easing? Quantitative easing is simply printing paper notes. And the more paper notes you print, the worse the value of your currency. There is nothing backing it. We have things to back our currency. We got gold, and gold is going to be standard that many people are using. China and Russia are already doing that. Ghana has joined in. Are we going to be standing around as Yoruba people? We're in Yoruba nation. Gold, it's not even a discussion. That is what must happen. That is what must happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Citizens Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. I want you to watch this video. I want you to share this video. I want you to leave comments. Please, I am not being offensive when I talk about, if I talk about dollars in parties. I'm telling you, every time you spend, you put $1 on your head you're promoting US dollar. And then you say, oh, Naira, I don't need that. You are making your Naira more expensive, and you're making the goods more expensive for your own people. For as long as, whilst we are in this union, that's what you should think of. But longer term, we have to separate. And self-determination by Yorubas, by Biafrans, by Middle Belt is when we decide the people in our community. We must make sure that every community understands that they have the mineral resources, and the government, the fraudulent governors, the clueless governors have impoverished them needlessly. And then we give them the confidence to go forward and build a nation. And I've shown you, like, in Yoruba Nation, we have several proposed constitutions that the people will have to carry out a referendum upon. What you have, there's no referendum on the country, on that fraudulent 1999 constitution. No referendum whatsoever. Zero. I'm showing you the facts. I'm showing you, giving you the bare facts. These guys have impoverished us. We need to go for Yoruba Nation. No question. No question. No doubt. We must go for Biafra Nation. No question. No doubt. We must go for Middle Belt. No question. No doubt. Hausa land must also go for this. No question. No doubt. Because Nigeria is a fraud. Our ancestors never created it. It's been designed. I'm showing you the countries that created it. The UK that created Nigeria. Look at the reserves of gold they have. Let me just show you. I want you to understand what I'm saying. In the UK, 310,000 tons of gold reserves. That's what they have. That's what they have. In the whole of those areas they created, that they put together forcefully, illegally. We have gold reserves. And how much is it? 600,000. Do you see that? You see that there's no business being in that contract called Nigeria. It's not that's not the land our ancestors. My ancestor created Yoruba land. And we must bring it back to life. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you find this beneficial. So please watch out for this song. So put that yeah constitution for your head, yo. Abdul Salam na fake man. Now military man can't tell una say una get constitution. Na lie yo, na fake, na fraud. That yeah constitution. Now in they take close una eye yo. Make una wake up, whoa. Wake up, my people. Yes, so constitution for your head, you wake up, my people. You need to wake up. May una wake up. I bet me una watch this video. I go feel can't do and for broken, can't tell una. But you get better information with the inside. Me una watch out. So, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. I had to explain this, and I might have to do this video again, over and over. But listen to this. So please do subscribe to Citizen Network. Leave your comments. Share this video. It's very, very important. It's got very important information in it, and we need to understand. We have the means to free ourselves. But first, we need to collectively come together to defend ourselves against aggression and tyranny and oppression and enslavement in our own land by foreigners that the federal government of Nigeria have paid with our own money. We need to free ourselves. And those who are telling us there's going to be an explosion or whatever, there's going to be war, they are doing that because they want to come and get the resources. I told you, the US haven't got enough gold reserves to be able to link their gold to the dollar. They haven't, but we more than have that. Even when we go into our different nations, we do. I've shown you the evidence. It's in black and white in front of you. Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please wake up, join me in the struggle. Take this great video, share it to friends and family, and I'll come and do it. I'm going to try and talk about it in broken English again, but it's very important. So thank you so much for watching. You're watching Citizen Network, the platform where we speak truth to power. Please do share. Thank you. Bye for now.